Hey everybody, Dr. Fisher here. It's wonderful to have an exciting guest. I'm going to try and see if I can get his name right. It's Nate Zelenek here with us today with the integrated ascension method, formerly known as the white dove method. I like to think of it like, as my daughter pointed out, the combination of a Jedi as well as Doctor Strange. She pointed that out to me this morning as I was preparing for this, by the way. So with that, I'm just going to give you a short little intro into Nate and how I found him. Nate actually was involved in a film that I watched that I thought was so cool. What's it called? The Superhuman documentary. I watched it on Gaia TV, and it was in a perfect time in my life when I was looking for something to improve myself, improve what I was doing on a daily basis, improve my energy. I'd hurt my leg, and so I was working on improving my health from that perspective as well. And it just fit. Everything about Nate and what he does just fit. And so I wanted to turn the time over to you, Nate, to just give a little short rendition of how you got here to this cool place where my daughter literally thinks that you're a combination of Doctor Strange and a Jedi Master.
Well, Dr. Fisher, thank you so much for having me. I sure appreciate that very much. And thanks for that introduction. So yes, my name is Nate Zelenek, and I am the founder of the White Dove Method, which is now the Integrated Ascension Method. And what this is, for people who aren't familiar with this, is in 1998, I had a very interesting, what I call a synchrodestiny happen, where I saw a Black Belt magazine video. Well, I ordered it at a Black Belt magazine that showed blindfolded and blind people who were able to see and do the most amazing things. And this is an Indonesian documentary, so I didn't understand anything on it, but I saw these people that were like driving motorcycles through traffic in Jakarta, or they were shooting targets out of people's hands, or they were able to read printed material if they were blindfolded or if their eyes weren't even there. And I honestly thought it was a trick, but a lot of us have had experiences where something happens that we just can't deny has been put into our path in order to give us a signal of where we're going with our life. And the very next day, I watched a blind woman almost get killed in front of me trying to cross the street with her dog. And the dog led her face first into the light pole. And it was like literally a bell went off in my head, or a light went off. Ding. I wonder if those Indonesian people can help that lady. And so I reached out to them, and I like to call it a message from source that I couldn't deny it. It wasn't a polite request. It was a spiritual imperative. I had to find those people to help her. And I still, to this day, I know it was my soul telling me, oh, yes, this is what you're supposed to be bringing to the world. This is your path. But at the time, I didn't know why, because I'd never met a blind person, but I had to help her. And so I was honored to bring the very first team of the White Dove Method, which in Indonesia is called meripati puti, which that means white dove. And I was able to bring that team over here for the very first time in 1999 to do the first demonstrations of this art. Now, meripati puti is a very comprehensive, actually, I think the most comprehensive martial art I've ever seen, in the fact that it has fighting and forms, but it also has inner power generation, or the chi, the biomagnetism in our body, and making it stronger so that we can hold a larger electromagnetic charge and be able to use that to heal ourselves, to heal other people, but also to do some superhuman feats. Like, most people have seen people break bricks or boards in karate, and they use anger and they use momentum. But not many people have seen people breaking, say, the leaf spring from a truck suspension, or steel files and stacks of stone and ice and iron, sometimes barely touching them, and with a smile on their face, no anger and no yelling, and by using the electricity in the body. And so that's one aspect. But then there's the healing aspect, to create and help our bodies become balanced again energetically, so that we can affect it on the energetic, and then it will trickle down and create a change in the physical, which, Dr. Fisher, you do all the time. And then there's the mind side part. So people have seen, if you've seen the vibravision in the Superhuman, the Invisible Made Visible documentary, those are my students. And at the very end, a lot of them, it was the cherry on top of the entire documentary, because that's really where this all started from. And while we weren't able to really bring this to the masses of blind people, which there are about 12 million legally blind people in the country, we weren't able to do that. We were not able to get traction and foothold before COVID really put the kibosh on our martial arts school and our operations, and we had to pivot into a seminar format. The thing is we were able to prove to medical and scientific, quantum physics, political figures, military people, that we actually see with our mind. It's not based just solely on our eyes. Now, there have been people throughout history for thousands of years that have been reported to be able to do this, but we were the first people to actually have some of the top neuroscientists in the world brain map people while they were doing it, and they were just completely blown away because they'd never seen anything like it after thousands of QEEG scans. And so, to make a super long story less long, that's what I do. Is I help people realize their highest potential through this form of breath work and energy work and meditation that is completely unique in the planet as far as we've ever seen, and then combining it with vibroacoustic therapy, with brainwave modulation, with neurofeedback brain training, with BioWell energy diagnostics. I'm also a certified emotion code and body code practitioner, so helping people on the emotional and physical levels through magnet therapy and muscle testing, both remotely and in person, using pyramid tachyon energies and so many other things that are coming into the integrated ascension method, that it can't just be the white dove method anymore, because that is super effective. I mean, it's literally super powerful.
Right.
That is in its own box, but to add these 21st century technologies and enhancements is just creating a completely new world for the people who do it, and it's magnifying the already powerful results and doing it faster.
So I have a direct follow-up question in relationship to that, because I've had some EEG training. I have a Muse headset. I'm just starting to use it. And I've worked with like traumatic brain injuries, and so I've seen some of those QEEGs from that perspective. Work with some different technology, and so I know that we've talked a little bit outside of this about some of the tools and techniques that you were just describing, some of the feedback, the neurofeedback, the energetic feedback aspects of things. Where do you see yourself going with that? How do you see yourself applying that technology like in the next 5 years? Because I know you're like me. We're gonna, push it to the absolute limits. Like, what are you thinking you're gonna be able to do with it? What would you like to do with it?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So right now, I'm really in love with the Sense.ai headset, the Sense, SENS.ai. People are interested in that, I can definitely get that information for them. But this is a 5-in-1 neurofeedback brain training system. So it doesn't just put you into a brainwave state. It actually puts you into a brainwave state and then teaches you how to hold it there so that you can return back there. So it helps to fire and wire new neural pathways. There's nothing else like it in the world, unless you went for a full QEEG neurofeedback training system, which would be, $15,000 to $20,000, and then you have to have a neuroscientist run it for you, because you can't really do it. You have to be completely still, so you can't really train. Well, or at least it would be very difficult. Okay, so so with that in mind, the Sensei headset is absolutely, bar none, the coolest thing I've encountered tech-wise. But I'm also a big fan of using the Brain Tap. And for the people who aren't familiar out there, the Brain Tap is a headset, but it also has a visor with lights that, through blue and red LEDs in the ears, which has therapeutic effect as well. But so photobiomodulation in the ears, but then also for the eyes. So you get this biofeedback of getting you to a certain brainwave state, and then binaural beats or other technologies. But then coupling that, and I'm going to be one of the only people doing this, is coupling that with the In Harmony vibroacoustic therapy cushions, so that you can sit down, and those two things, they don't play well with themselves. They play with themselves, but not with others. Well. Yeah, but I happen to know people that work at both places, and they have created the bridge so that they have been able to make them work together, and they have programs for that. And so I'm going to be offering those things as well. So what I'm seeing in the next 5 years, and I'm really glad you asked that question, because spirituality, meditation, improvement, health gains, these are not an overnight thing. As much as we want them to be take a pill and you're better, all better now, they take time, especially when it comes down to the mind and the spirit. No matter how much AI takes over, you can only build muscle in your body so fast. You can only lose weight so fast without surgical intervention. You can only develop yourself physically or like spiritually so fast. You can't force these things or else you wind up injured, So with that in mind, there are ways that you can hack the body and the brain to go faster than we ever thought before and kind of push the limits. And so that's what I'm looking forward to the most in the next 5 years is working with professional athletes, working with influencers, working with people who have millions of people who follow them, who can really spread this word to help as many people grow as possible, because we've got some massive shifts happening in our society, in our planet, in the cosmology, in the energetic field of the entire human race, that we've got to be strong enough and we've got to be wise enough in order to be able to survive through it, honestly, because we've got some massive things happening that are not looking that bright. But with every tragedy, there's an opportunity. And so I'm looking forward to what's coming next in the 5 years that I'm able to bring to the world and help with.
So one more follow-up question specifically in relationship to that, right? So you're talking about different people that you're working with. Is your plan to do seminar type styles like you were doing with the vibravision in office? Or are you going to do one-on-ones? Are you going to do, more of the videos like the LEAP programs and then, teach people from a distance and have them do like basics and then come in for a class? Like, you have an idea as to what that's going to look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the integrated ascension method, because it involves technology that can be pretty heavy. Some of the things weigh hundreds of pounds. Traveling with that to different places isn't really feasible at this time. It's possible, but where my passion really lies is working one-on-one or one-on-two with people who can really move the needle in society, because when they change who they are being, they resonate a different energy and they change, help other people want to change and be better in different ways. So let's say if I worked with, say, Steph Curry. Okay, I'm just pulling that out of thin air. Okay, so everybody knows who Steph Curry is. But here's an interesting thing about athletes as opposed to influencers. When people are influencers, people want to follow them. But when people are pro athletes, people want to be them. Everybody wants to be like Mike. They'll buy the Jordans so that it will help them jump faster, run faster on the court, and then go out there and play basketball because they want to be like Michael Jordan.
Right.
Or, it's not the same as, maybe some people want to be like, say, Jennifer Lopez, and they want to dance and have the singing career. They want to be like that. But the numbers of people who will watch J-Lo in order to want to be like her, as opposed to people who watch the NBA finals wanting to be like Dwayne Wade, well, there's a lot more. So in that regard, people who are athletes, they're the ones who are going to stick with a discipline program like this and really maximize it because they have millions of dollars on the line. And that's just their personality to want to push their own limits and really see what they can do. So career-wise and just temperament-wise of how they have been trained and grew up. Second thing is with the professional athletes, they also have a large reach, and they, a lot of them don't want to step into being a role model, but that's just what society makes them do. And unless you're Dennis Rodman, in which case you just don't care. But if you're anybody else, you get in that limelight and, oh, wow, okay, so now you're expected to have foundations, you're expected to do great things for other people. And a lot of the people have big hearts and they want to do that anyway. But there are some athletes that I've seen interviews with that they're just like, that's not what I just want to play basketball. I just want to play football. I don't want to do all this other stuff. But that's fine. But when they do something like this, I can't even tell you how many dozens or maybe hundreds of times people have started to understand the other people in their classes on a deeper level than they ever would before. They never would have talked to somebody that wasn't in their social paradigm. But you go through something difficult together and all of a sudden you're besties. And
right.
So I love that aspect. But, right now I really want to work at the highest level. but then also creating more online courses like the Leap. Now, the Leap alone could last you your whole life, and you would never find the bottom of the rabbit hole of what it could bring for you. But there are so many other things in the White Dove method that I can bring, such as healing or the psi abilities that people really, really, really want. And there are so many other things in beyond the Leap that they work in conjunction with the Leap exercises. So the Leap exercises really maintain our energy, but there are super powerful ones that build our energy in our body even faster. So as I bring these things to people for the masses to be able to jump on and do at their own leisure in their own privacy of their own home, it's going to be able to affect more people that way. So doing seminars, I didn't find that was really the most effective use of my time because it was small scale. And
Gotcha.
one thing, in 2007, this is something some people know. Actually, I've mentioned on quite a few podcasts, but I had a near-death experience during a test in Indonesia, and I decided to come back into my body and finish this life.
Wow.
I wasn't done. And part of this is to be able to help millions of people, not just dozens of people or hundreds of people, but millions of people. Now, the way to do that is we've got this beautiful World Wide Web where people can train and learn, which, and as a matter of fact, they could go to my website and get a free course right now, a free class and my free book.
I'll make sure that I have the links down below in my YouTube videos as well for your stuff too.
Nice. Awesome. And I just have to, quick side note, I don't know how I was able to get this, but it's one of the sexiest websites I've ever heard for energy work. IamPure.energy. I mean, come on. IamPure.energy.
That's nice.
Thanks, GoDaddy. But with that said, I'm really excited to be able to bring this to as many people as possible, both digitally, as well as the people who will then influence people to go and be able to do this as well. So I hope that answers your question.
It does.
For the moment, that's where I'm at.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to just shift and just do a few more minutes, and then we'll be done for today. I'd like to ask you just some fun questions, if that's cool with you.
Sure, you bet.
All right. So, for example, because I know martial arts is your base. Oh, I guess I did want to say one last thing. So the LEAP method, from my own understanding and application of this, right? The LEAP method is going to be a foundational aspect of yada 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 yada, the stuff additionally that you're going to add. You're starting with the foundation first, the LEAP method, the breathing, right? So again, like we talk about the basics of life, right? And then you're going to do other cool stuff on top of it.
Yeah, I won't be helping people pooping though. That's
my department.
I'll send it to you.
Excellent. All right, so switching over, I'll ask you just a couple of quick questions because we're running out of time. Sure. What is your favorite martial arts movie? Knowing that you have a big martial arts background, right? That's your foundation with this process. What's your favorite martial arts movie?
The one with Jet Li.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to write that down and go watch it.
Great one. Yeah, it's either that one or The Matrix. Or Matrix Reloaded, second one.
You like the second one, huh?
As far as martial arts, yeah.
Oh, as far as martial arts. Okay, perfect. Excellent.
Yeah.
That was actually my follow-up question. So
yeah, The Matrix is a great documentary.
It really I like is. That. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes. It's definitely a mind trip for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask you maybe two more questions here. I'm gonna ask you one deep one and one fun one. How's that?
Sure.
What is the most profound thing that you have learned in doing energy work?
That I'm more than my physical body, and that what we see is exactly what we're supposed to see for the learning that our soul came here for, but that there is so much more to reality than we can possibly comprehend in a human body.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
And then something fun. It may be a two-part question here.
Sure.
Do you work with nature, like animals?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you have a new cat.
Used to. Yeah. I'm catless at the moment.
You're catless right now. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought that you'd picked up another cat. I won't ask you any more questions in relation to that.
That's okay. But I like other people's cats.
So I'll ask you then one more fun question then, side note then. Do you still break stuff occasionally?
Once in a while, yeah. Yeah, wind, but then no, yeah, I do. In order to just be able to stay focused with my energy, sure. Yeah, so I've got a stack of iron bars and I've got some tiles and things like that. Just it's not for me anymore about proving how much can I break. It's just okay, it's keeping my ability to focus my energy sharp, and that's all. Yeah, because at this point, I'm not testing in Indonesia where you have, 4 feet of bricks that you have to break and numerous targets in order to get a new belt. And it's just for me right now. Now,
So as we wrap up today, if there's one thing you want to leave us with today,
yeah,
what might that be?
be conscious of your breath more than anything else. We have so many different health conditions that are caused by improper breathing, especially mouth breathing. A couple different things: tape your mouth closed at night so you breathe through your nose. It doesn't have to be like a hostage situation, just a little bit of a tape just to remind you. Just paper tape from the medical supply store or Walmart, it was just fine. So I'd recommend going and making sure that you breathe through your nose when you sleep at night. The second part is get into some kind of a breathwork regimen, whether that's something you saw online, or if you go get my free course at IamPure.energy, or if you want to actually take the leap like Dr. Fisher and jump in and actually get these really powerful results quickly, like just in 10 minutes a day. I highly recommend that. The best investment you can ever do is in your health, because your car will not follow you into the afterlife. And very briefly, I saw a podcast that was really impactful for me, and I quote this all the time. The podcast host the podcast guest asked the podcast host, if I gave you $1 million, what would you say? How would you feel if I just, no strings attached, no, nothing, I just gave it to you? Podcast host said, I'd be very grateful. I don't know what I'd do. I'd say thank you. And he says, okay, well, what if I gave you $10 million? But the caveat was, you didn't get to wake up tomorrow. At midnight, you die. Would you take $10 million knowing that this is your last day? And the guy's like, absolutely not. So what that tells me is that most people, hopefully, people who are mentally sound and feeling good, they would not take $10 million in order to have tomorrow never come. And so with that in mind, the breath capacity has been linked to longevity more than any other factor that there is with large scale studies. So if you're not doing something to improve your breath capacity, you're actually not extending your life as much as you could as if you just did a small, say, a LEAP program, 10 minutes a day. How much would extra days worth? Are they worth the extra minutes now? Yeah, they are. So find a breathwork practice, a meditation practice. These things are also important, and they're fun. They're beautiful things. So tape your mouth closed, especially if you're going to say something stupid. And second, make sure you are breathing consciously, and whatever that form that takes, explore them.
Well, Nate, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you and interact with you. It's been so much fun. Maybe we'll have to do this again sometime. I'm definitely going to keep following you and keep,
Awesome.
Learning from you. You're an amazing teacher. I really enjoy you. So thank you very much today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fisher, and to everybody out there. Have a great day on purpose. I look forward to seeing you.